Today here at Robert's Guitar Dungeon, we're checking out the DepthFinder EQ from Amptweaker. So before we get to the demo, I think it's important to talk a little bit about what this thing is and what it does. It's essentially an EQ that is designed to go in the effects loop of an amplifier, specifically an amplifier that does not have a presence or a resonance control. If you are not familiar with what a presence and resonance control do, presence and resonance essentially control treble and bass, respectively, but they control treble and bass on the power amp section of the amplifier as opposed to the preamp. So whereas the EQ controls on the amplifier itself, that's going to adjust the EQ curve of the amplifier itself, versus presence and resonance is going to control the low and high, the high and low harmonics of your overall guitar tone. So it's not really, it's not like a second EQ or anything like that. It is a little bit different, and it's a very, very useful tool. It's a very, very useful tool, and it's not over EQing again, because it's actually adding high and highs and lows, or cutting highs and lows to a different section of the amplifier. So this particular device is also unique because, as if you follow my channel at all, you know that I am a huge fan of Amptweaker. They're one of my favorite companies. My all-time favorite pedal is the Amptweaker Type Metal Pro that I demoed about a year or so ago, and not just favorite distortion pedal, but favorite pedal. James Brown, who is the mastermind behind all of these designs, is an absolute genius, and everything that he builds is extremely well thought out and very, very practical. And one final note, when you actually contact the company through their website, you actually get a response back from James Brown himself, not an employee. So I was very surprised by that. One feature that it does have that is, that's not visible because it's on the inside, like a lot of Amptweaker pedals, when you pop the back off rather, there's actually a little trim pot on the inside that you can adjust the overall level. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to leave it where it was set from the factory. I find that, in my experience with all of Amptweaker stuff, because all of their stuff, again, has a lot of internal adjustments like that can be made by the user, but I find that the factory default settings are generally pretty ideal for certainly for my purposes here and our purposes of this demo today. One last thing about it, it's you can mount it on a pedal board. Of course, it's certainly small enough to, but it's not really a pedal, and the fact that there's no switch. So it is active. It does require either a 9 or an 18 volt power input. So it is active. It does require power of some kind. So therefore, I think mounting it on a pedal board would probably be the most convenient place to put it, particularly in a live situation. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to leave it up so that I can obviously get to it and a little bit better camera angle, I think, so that you fine folks can see it a little bit better. Let's see how this thing sounds. I'm going to start with both controls turned all the way down, which is essentially what it would sound like without the DepthFinder EQ and the effects loop at all, essentially off. That's halfway up on the resonance control. That's a big difference. Check this out. This is something pretty cool. Might have been able to hear the bass, hear the low end, not bass because it's not bass, but the low end increase quite a bit. That's actually kind of a nice touch for a little, a little bit warmer sounding clean if you want to get away from the Fender type of clean sound. Let's try it with some distortion. Again, both knobs back at 0. Check this out. Increase the resonance and pull back on the presence control a little bit, and then it kind of sounds like an old Marshall with the bright clips, or the bright caps clipped on it, which I know if you guys like to do that. So there you have it. The Amptweaker DepthFinder EQ, a very, very useful tool that just about any guitar player, I'm sure, could find a use for in their effects loop, one way or another, be it studio or live. If you need to EQ your tone just a little bit beyond what you might be able to at this point, and your amplifier rather doesn't have a presence or resonance control, this is a way to remedy that situation. So links to Amptweaker's website, as well as other places you can go to check out the products, specifically the DepthFinder EQ, will be listed down in the description below, as well as links to all the other gear used in this video. Please leave me a comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and if you haven't already, please consider hitting the subscribe button to this channel, as well as the little alert icon right next to it. That way you make sure you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.